Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. It's a much more beautiful day here today than it was a couple of days ago when it was drizzly and cold. It's a nice sunny day. It's still way too chilly for the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. We should be in summertime weather right now, and I'm still out here in long sleeves, but at least it's a beautiful day. And our governor gave us the half of the day off today, so thank you, Governor Shapiro, for that. And I thought, well, I'm on my way home. I've got my Inglis P-35 with me right here. I acquired this pistol shortly before Christmas. I've done I did a very short video, and then I did an initial shooting impression video with this pistol, but I've been meaning to do a follow-up, and this is actually sort of a preliminary follow-up. I want to do a little bit of testing. I once again have these Gecko 124 grain 9mm IPSC loads. These are pretty hot, and I want to test and see. I've cleaned up all the brass around here. I want to see how far the pistol is ejecting ammo. I've talked about this a little bit in the past. Browning high powers are extremely dependent on their springs, both the recoil spring and what we normally would call the main spring. I think Browning refers to it as the hammer spring. It's the spring that powers the hammer. Both of those are critical to the longevity of one of these pistols. The Browning high power, although it's entirely made out of steel and it's fairly heavy, and it's a good service-grade, robust pistol, it's very, very lightly built if you compare it with something like a SIG P226 or a Beretta 92. These things are inherently fragile, and they need to be heavily sprung, and the springs have to be in good condition if you don't want your pistol to self-destruct on you. Now, so far, I've been very, very impressed with the Inglis P-35. It's beautifully manufactured. The machining is very nice. They claim that none of the small parts are metal injection molded. I don't actually have a problem with MIM parts, but given the choice between forged and machined or MIM, I'll take the forged and machined anytime. I think metal injection molding it's a good technology. It's very easy to make dimensionally perfect parts, but I don't see how they could possibly be quite as strong as forged parts. I've never had a MIM part fail on me, but a lot of people are very down on MIM. I'm a little bit ambivalent, but I'll take forged parts any day. So I think the pistol is really, really nicely made. It does have a couple of things that I want to change out, however. First of all is springs. I don't have any reason to believe that the springs in this are bad, but I also don't know how good they are. If they were some kind of special chrome silicon or some sort of proprietary material, I'm sure the manufacturer or the importer would, let us know about that. So I have to assume that we've just got regular music wire springs in here. That's certainly what most Browning high powers have had in them over the last 90 years since the pistol was introduced in 1935. But there are better options nowadays. So I don't know that these springs are bad. I just don't know how good they are. They are working correctly at the moment. I did some ejection tests the first time I took this out and shot it, and got an idea for how far it was ejecting, about 7 or 8 feet, if I recall. The general rule of thumb, as far as I know, is that if the pistol's ejecting brass more than about 10 feet, you really need to replace your springs, or else the pistol's going to start beating itself to death. So I want to see where it's ejecting now. I have brand new springs on order. I didn't get heavier weight springs. I bought Wolf springs, and I got them in the standard factory weight, 17 pounds for the recoil spring, 32 pounds for the main spring or the hammer spring. I don't know if that was exactly necessary right off the bat, but it's just a little added margin of safety. Wolf springs are of known quality. They're an OEM manufacturer for lots of factory and high-end custom makers. And I think their springs are made of chrome silicon steel, so they're a little bit better than standard music wire springs. The 17-pound recoil spring that I bought for this is also one of their variable weight springs, so that kind of softens the recoil impulse. It's the same weight as the factory spring, but it should be a little bit better at managing recoil, and also I think they have a little bit better life to them. The other thing that I'm going to be changing out very soon, and I want to get all my parts together because the Browning high power is a little bit, it's not difficult, but it's a little bit finicky to take apart, and especially to put back together, you need special tools and everything, which I have, but I don't want to take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together. And to replace something as simple as the hammer spring, you've got to pretty much disassemble the entire lower. So another thing that I've purchased is a new detent and spring for the thumb safety. I bought that from Cylinder and Slide. I don't like how sort of mushy this thumb safety is. I wouldn't say it's bad. I've been carrying this pistol and using this pistol. I've never had it inadvertently go off of safe, but it's not as positive as I would like. And that's not something that's specific to the Inglis P-35. That is the case with almost any factory Browning high power. The way the detent is designed, as opposed to like the 1911 has the spring and the detent plunger mounted to the slide and engages little dimples on the thumb safety. On the Browning high power, the plunger and the spring are inside a recess in the safety, and they engage dimples in the frame. And as far as I know, this is made to the original design, but the original design had a very rounded nose on the plunger. The Cylinder and Slide replacement part has a slightly more pointed tip to that plunger, and I think it has a little bit stronger spring. And by all accounts, I haven't tried one out yet, but I have one actually in my bag here, and that's going to go in here as well. And that's supposed to make the thumb safety a little bit snappier. So anyway, I just wanted to shoot a few rounds through this thing and get a feel for exactly where it's ejecting. And I thought, why not film it while I'm doing that? So just like the other day with the Kel-Tec P15, and no, I don't have an Insta360, but I will be getting one so that we can kind of pan around. I'm just shooting at steel like I did with my P15 the other day. I've got two 15-round mags loaded up here, and I've got another 20 rounds. I don't think I'll show you all of them because people don't seem to like when you do tons and tons of shooting without talking. But I'll film it all, and then we'll see how much I leave in the video. We've got steel gongs here at about 20 yards. Here we go. One thing that's very nice about these Inglis P-35s high left. There we go. Let's try that steel gong at 40 yards. There we go. A little bit to the left. One thing about these Inglis P-35s, they have a very nice trigger in them, as opposed to a standard Browning high power, because there's no magazine disconnect in this. Obviously, you can take the magazine disconnect out of an FN Browning, but you don't have to do it with this one. And it has a very nice trigger. It's not super lightweight. I think it's about 5 pounds, if I recall, 5 or 6 pounds. But after a short take-up, it breaks clean, and there's almost no over travel. And so far, it looks like most of my brass is ejecting about 6 to 7 feet. So these factory springs are okay for now, but I'm definitely going to change them out anyway, just for safety's sake. One thing about the Browning high power, it's got a very long slide stop lever here, so you don't want to shoot thumbs up as you would with a lot of modern pistols, because you can inadvertently engage the slide stop. I like to use the old-fashioned thumbs lock down method with these. There we go. All right, now we're on. Let's try that 40-yard gong again. That 40-yard gong is just a little too far out there. And you got 20 rounds left. We may as well use this up. This is a lot nicer to shoot than my Kel-Tec P-15, I can tell you. I'll put 10 rounds in each of these mags because I've got 20 rounds left. Once again, all my brass seems to be collecting pretty nicely. Right over here at about 7 feet away. So these springs are okay for now, but I'm changing them out anyway, just because I like to modify stuff. 10 rounds in this mag. So the next time you see the pistol on the channel, I will have made my modifications. We'll see if the safety's a little snappier. And with the new springs in it, if it functions properly. And then I think I'm going to start carrying this pistol. The wonderful thing about the Browning High Power is, although it is rather heavy, it's a solid steel gun, it is relatively narrow. It has a relatively short pistol grip. It was only originally designed for a 14-round magazine, although these modern mags hold 15 rounds. So you have a reasonable loadout in a magazine, and it's still quite concealable pistol, although you need a fairly serious pistol belt or some other kind of rig that's not going to drag your pants to the ground, because the pistol's not very lightweight. So, here we go. I don't know what these gongs are made out of. They don't have a very nice ring to them. Well, that's it. So there you have it. It doesn't take long to go through 50 rounds of pistol ammo. I should be able to make the modifications to this pistol in the next week or so, and I'll certainly be shooting it again on the channel in the not too distant future. I don't know if that'll be the next video, but whatever I post next, I hope to see each of you here then. Later, guys.